very excited about being able to interview Tamara Mclellan. She's one of the co-executive directors of Her International. Her International, previously called IWIN in another lifetime. The mission hasn't changed, but just the name, so it's broader. It's got a bigger outreach than it had when it was initially started, which Tamara is going to talk about. So I've been a supporter of Her International for several years now, and it's just near and dear to my heart because it's all about empowering women. And for those of you that know me, you know that that's what I'm all about, and empowering women in business in particular. So Tamara is going to talk about the wonderful things that are going on at Her International and about how the empowering is going on with the younger girls and with their mothers and all of that. So Tamara, please introduce yourself and tell us how you got involved with the organization.
Sure. So, as I had said, I'm Tamara. I live in Kelowna, BC, Canada, and I am the local co-ED here. I also have a global co-ED who lives in China and was having some internet difficulties today, Katie Phelps, and so
Yeah.
she won't be on with us today, but hopefully soon. And so, how did I get involved? I volunteered at it was an iWin booth at the time that was selling
Okay.
scarves at Sparkling Hills in Kelowna 6 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And,
Excellent.
and I was selling the merchandise. I started hearing the story of how iWin was doing work to really take these girls and help them get an education. And they were just starting mothers savings groups at the time. And and it was an exciting thing. And so I started hearing the stories of how that there was these mothers that were coming together to learn as well, and also inspire, their daughters and get their own education. And I became very enamored with what they did. And I started just as a volunteer. I joined the board about a year or two later. And then I was on the board for about 4 years. And Kate and I both started as co-EDs a year and a half ago.
Wonderful. And yeah, I first met or came in contact with Iwan at another event. It was one of the WOW events. It wasn't in Sparkling Hills. It was in either Harrison or in Vancouver, Harrison Hot Springs. And so I was attracted, honestly, to the scarves. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying it. The scarves are beautiful, and I've bought scarves and for myself and other people all over the years. But and now we'll talk about the jewelry that they're making. I see you're wearing one of their lovely necklaces, and I know they've got a whole bead campaign going on. But I heard about it through the WOW event that Christine Aram had, and Linda Edgecombe has always been a promoter and one of the speakers at WOW. So she had a table there, and that was my first introduction to it. And then I realized what they were doing, empowering the girls, and so it got started. Now, I know that Kevin Edgecombe, the president, is in Kelowna, but Michelle Bono started. Can you tell us a little bit about that, the history of that?
Yeah, Michelle Bonneau started. Well, she was working in Kelowna at the time, but she's from Quebec. But she was working in Kelowna, and she felt a call to travel and she felt Nepal, but she also went to a couple of other places. But when she landed in Nepal, she fell in love with the people, the culture. She was also there during the time of the Kamlari system when young girls were being sold into bonded servitude, and
Mm.
she felt really called to help in whatever way she could. She started with scarves and bringing some scarves back to raise funds, send them back to families to be able to educate their daughters, and then everything kind of came together in 2005, and that we got registered as a Canadian registered charity then, and it became a little bit more concrete that we were here to stay.
Yes.
Michelle and Linda really led that charge, and then Linda kind of brought Kevin in, and Kevin's been the president for the past 6 years, and we've really evolved from that time.
Right. And now there's a board. You have a lot of committees and board members mostly in Kelowna, but not all.
Right, exactly. We have a board of 11. We have a full board, which is exciting. There's lots of interest. We rebranded to Her International about a year and a half ago, and we still run the girls scholarships. That was our first program. It still is in existence. We have 166 girls right now that we sponsor in school. but we've expanded to we have mothers groups. We have around 1,000 women who meet monthly in savings groups. They learn entrepreneurial skills, um, skills like life skills like literacy, numeracy.
Right.
And then we also just launched Hero Girls, which is a program specific to adolescent girls, and it's a year long. It'll pilot in January in Dong, and it is going to
So let people know where Dong is, because you know and they don't know. So in Nepal,
in
yeah.
Nepal. Yeah, it's a 13 hours from Kathmandu. So it's a rural area where there is mainly the Tharu women. So this is our book. The Tharu are the indigenous population that live in Dong, and that's primarily who we work with there. And Hero Girls supports the adolescent girls to do self-development and leadership training skills. There's an entrepreneurial sessions to build self-confidence and leadership.
There's a group of mothers that's sort of they get micro loans, and is that what happens through Her International?
In the savings groups, they actually come together every month to save money, which they all put in. They decide, the groups are self-organizing. They decide how much money they're all able to save each month, and then they all hit that quota. And then they decide amongst one another after about a year of gathering what and who deserves to have a loan that month. And
Okay, and so these
very,
are women are becoming self-sufficient. That's the goal.
they are almost entirely self-reliant, and that's kind of the beautiful thing about those groups is that many microcredit models provide money up front to the groups. We don't do that. They all the money is coming from them.
So what kind of enterprises would they have then, Tamara?
So when we were there in the spring, we hired the first auto rickshaw female driver, Karma.
Oh,
So that
I
was
love
really
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Bought this auto rickshaw with her money. But there's lots of farmers, lots of agriculture, market gardens. There's a tailors, like many tailoring,
Wonderful.
vegetable market stalls
Yeah.
selling donuts. There's all kinds of entrepreneurial opportunities there, which is exciting to see the women capitalizing on it.
So what age group would be the women, and then we'll talk about the students, but what would the ages be, do you think?
The women, I mean, they become mothers somewhat early on. So I would say they range from, 19 or 20 all the way to 40, 50, 60.
Yeah.
And then the girls are in primary school all the way to their grade 12. So they would be, more primary ages.
Okay. So what does Her International, I know that I'm a donator, and we'll talk about the auctions and some fundraising things you've got coming up. But when people are donating money, I know let's talk about the building of the schools that are going on right now as we speak in November is it Dong?
In Dawn, yeah. We do different projects. We really work within our Nepali staff. So we work with an NGO that is on the ground.
Okay, NGO means?
A non-governmental organization.
Yeah.
And
so we have Her International has a partner there, a Nepalese partner, because you need to know how to navigate the system, right?
You actually legally need even an NGO to work on the ground there. And so our partner is Creating Possibilities, and we work with them. We've been working with them for 12 years to identify maybe gaps in the communities of what buildings do need to happen. In the past, they've done different projects like toilets and schools. This year, they're doing 4 classrooms.
Wow.
And one of our ambassadors did a specific fundraising campaign for us. So they're going to actually call it the Eleanor House, which is our ambassador Hugh Culver's mother's name. And so they're doing it in her name, which is great.
That's fabulous.
And it's at a government school. Katie and I were both there in the spring to talk to the principal there. He was a wonderful, warm man who really wants to educate more students, and they just don't have the room. So the volunteer trip is there finishing off some classrooms.
So how many volunteers would be in Nepal right now then with Her International?
There was 14 that went on this trip.
So they go, and I know that Kevin is spearheading that because his business is construction, which he does extremely well in, wins hundreds of awards in Kelowna, in BC, and all of that for what he does. So he does he draw up the plans for what the schools look like, or is it a government? Do they tell you what the specs are, or how does that work?
Yeah, we go by what the local, government
Okay.
needs or what the school
Yeah.
needs. And so they tell us, and in this particular project, it's actually the second floor of a building that already is there. So what
Okay.
the second floor needed was the rest of the walls and the ceiling
Right.
up. So the local economy started.
Which is very hard for us to understand in North. I've been to Kathmandu, so I get it. If anybody's been to a developing country, you understand. We're talking, no toilets, very little food, not the greatest hygiene sometimes. So this is so important what Her International do with educating.
Absolutely. And providing
Education is
that model
everything.
so that the students have somewhere to go to learn. And so, yeah, if you want to follow on our Instagram, you can see some of those building pictures. And also,
Okay.
it was just Diwali, which is a festival of lights in
Yes, I saw that. Yeah,
yeah.
that's quite amazing. So what's the Instagram tag?
It is at Her International.
Good. Okay. All right. And so
Yeah.
let's talk about some of the other things that are going on. I know that you've got an auction coming up, Tamara, for the organization.
Yeah, so this Christmas, and actually it's our second year doing it with Kelowna Now, which is a pretty big media company here in Kelowna, and they do an Auctions Now site, and they typically do this just for charities. So we have prizes being donated by businesses, services, travel, tourism cards, those kinds of things, and then we auction it off online. It's an online silent auction. The auction will run from December 1st to December 12th,
Oh,
and
great.
people can bid online. They can buy a gift, but knowing that the funds are going to power education for women and girls.
So where would that be online then? How could people, if they wanted to offer something for the auction?
They could email me, which would be Tamara at herinternational.org, or just visit the front page of our website, herinternational.org. It should be when I'm talking, maybe coming up with
Yeah.
my title, and people can go straight to that homepage, and we'll have a little festive auction button that they can press
Great.
there.
And so if they want to donate, when is the deadline to do that?
So it would be by November 24th would be ideal, which is
Okay.
next Saturday.
Yeah.
So we have about a week left for those donations. We've been getting a variety of different things. We'll have lots of different products, so it'll be interesting definitely to check out.
Good.
And,
Excellent.
and next Tuesday is Giving Tuesday, or the Tuesday after is Giving Tuesday, so it's a good time for that.
Okay. And what's that? What's the Giving Tuesday?
So Giving Tuesday is it's a huge holiday that follows that Black Friday and Cyber Monday in the States. So in the States,
Oh, okay.
it's huge, and it's where everybody has a chance, I guess, to kind of redeem themselves. They shop really hard, and then they get a
For
chance
themselves and now to give back, right?
to
Yeah.
give back. And so it's been growing in popularity in Canada. There's always some people here, some charities who go down to City Hall in Kelowna that promote Giving Tuesday. So it's November 27th this year.
Okay. And now Her International has roots in the States now. Is that?
We just, we are able to
I know
accept
it's in process.
donations.
Yep.
Yeah, we got the U.S. trademark for Her International, so that was really exciting last year, and then, or just a few months ago, I guess. And then we just partnered with a company or a charity that can take donations on our behalf.
Oh, terrific.
And so we just recently, as like much as a month ago, are able to accept um, or donations and give tax receipts in the States, which is huge.
Good. So if that Giving Tuesday, is there a website for that people could check out if they're in the
You know what?
States?
It is a huge hashtag. If you go on Instagram or Twitter or even Facebook and you see someone post the hashtag, or you go on your search and you search Giving Tuesday, you see on that day and leading up to that day a ton of activity, a flurry of
Okay.
activity. And it's just a day. I love it. I think it's personally beautiful that they have balanced that a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that, there's some
Yeah.
pause to the consumerism
Yeah.
that happens. And so it's just a nice way to, I know that last year there was about 10,000 pledges given on Canada Helps on that Tuesday. So there's a lot of people doing
Oh,
it.
wow, that's great.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I know, I do a monthly donation, and then occasionally I know you've got other things coming up. I know that I've bought a brick for my sister and I, so you could talk about that. And then the bicycles, is that still going on for the girls, or the?
Yeah, we have had bicycles for a long time and we still are open to receiving that. You'll see it
So
on our
why do they need bicycles? What's that all
Well,
about?
the thing about Nepal, and I mean, just having been there in the spring with my 1-year-old bus and driving those dusty mud roads and seeing how many students are walking on those roads that are one lane traffic, and there's goats and water buffalo that you're competing with, there's huge buses, there's
Yeah.
rickshaws. The students need a safe way to travel to and from school, and they need to be able to do it efficiently. So bicycles are and have been a great fundraiser for us in the past. But we have 4 gifts this year for Christmas that we really focused and honed in on that we would love people to
Okay, what
support.
are those?
And you can actually go on our page to herinternational.org/gifts. But
Okay.
there's $100 brick, and that brick goes up on the Unico House, which is a women's community center. It's a gathering place. It's where we have staff that work out of in Dong, and where it's just such a beautiful house. And so it's filled with supporters from Canada, from the U.S. And so that's $100. You can also give it as a gift, and I think that's a beautiful Christmas gift to say, hey, I am leaving your legacy and putting your name up on the wall.
Yeah.
And then we have a $75 support donation that will go to sponsor our hero girls. So if you want to focus more on the teen girls, the adolescent girls, and
so that's for the empowerment program, and that's a monthly thing.
Nope, that's just a one-time gift, and that'll help us support.
Oh, sorry, I meant the hero program. That it's ongoing.
It's just a $75 gift for Christmas that will go to support the launch of that pilot.
The launch of that. Okay. Yep.
And then $50 is basically what supplies a backpack, shoes, and supplies for a student. When we break down, it all down to that, that is about $50. So that's a one-time give as well, which you can also give as a gift. There's gift certificates online.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful gift. And then we have our $33 a month donation.
Right.
And that supports it doesn't just support a girl in school, it also helps her mother join a savings group, which is the holistic model we really want to encourage when we're looking at international development, is that we're not just we want to be able to have an exit plan. And if we put her mother in a group where she can get the support to start her own business, to start making her own money, to be self-reliant, we have a chance that the mother at some point will be able to pay for that sponsorship, and we can go and help more girls. Right. So that's really, I love that one. $33 a month, and you make a big impact for two people.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's just great. Let me just see if anything else I was going to ask you about. So just in a nutshell, what's the mission statement?
Our mission at Her International is to empower women and girls through education.
And that's what you're doing.
I feel really strongly about that, because I really think that, and it's not just formal education. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways in this world that we live in now that people can do little courses. They can take, even just the life skills training that we give with financial literacy, numeracy, with, literacy itself. These are such important life skills that we get to do that really do open these doors to complete possibility and opportunity. Right. And so when we say education, we mean all facets of that, to be able to open the doors for women and girls everywhere. Yeah.
So how many girls now are in the program? I think you said earlier.
We have about 1,000 women, and we have about 166 girls. We also do a little bit of work locally in Canada. We partner with charities in Canada. We hold, I guess, kind of the International Women's Day event in Kelowna, which is called Hope in Her Eyes, and it supports 50% of the proceeds stay in Kelowna. They support street women here who are, exploited and homeless, and then we have 50% go to global programs so that we can break down some divides between the here versus there. Instead, it's the here and there. And so we do support some local initiatives. We also work in Quebec with a program to support immigrant women, and so these local initiatives are also very close to home. We want to work on more programs that we can help, where we can affect and impact more women, and we can really see each other and stand in solidarity with each other, as opposed to kind of just focusing in one place.
Right, that's just great. And so the organization is growing and growing and growing, and you've got a great board right now. You've got 2 fantastic co-executive directors, and it's too bad Katie Phelps would have joined us today, but She is in China, and there are some technical difficulties. So we're hoping to do another show like this in December, and maybe what we'll do is give a little bit more, let people know when we're going to do it so that they can join us, because it's nice with when we do this that people can ask questions if they have questions, and if they know beforehand that we're going to be doing something that's just great. So lots of ways that people can get involved. And
we're always looking for volunteers too, and they don't have to be in Kelowna in any way. We're looking for media interns and people who can blog and write and all of that kind of thing. So if anyone feels called to get involved, I just can't tell you how many powerful and empowered women I've talked to in the last month that want to join
that's great.
mission, and it's just it's heartwarming to see. We have a ambassador campaign. It's a peer-to-peer campaign right now called Empower Her, and it's you can see it at herinternational.org/200, because we are really aiming to put another 200 women and girls in a position to receive education by the end of this year.
Wow, that's great.
Just in the last week, I've had 2 ambassadors join the program, not both, like one's in Lac La Biche, Alberta. So there's lots of ways to get involved, and we are so grateful for the opportunity to talk to you and get this message out even more.
And then I know too, I have bought a lot of scarves and I see them, so people could also, as an ambassador, if they're going to women's events or with Christmas coming up, they can have a house party, get the scarves and sell them. And I think some of the scarves are online, are they not?
They are. The scarves and jewelry and the book is online at unako.ca. So Unako means for her in Nepali, and that's UNAKO.
So unako.org?
Unako.ca.
Oh, .ca. Okay. Can you just show us a few of the pictures there? So these are the women, some of the women that are doing the work, and
it's a beautiful piece of art. Photography was done by Julie Gascon. She is a amazing photographer in Quebec, and she went over with Michelle and took some of these pictures. And I mean, they're just like,
it's a fabulous book. Yeah,
stunning pictures.
Yeah. Just the colors, right, are just so spectacular.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, that's the thing I love about going there, is that you just see these women who are just shining, and it reminds me, I wear black a lot, I notice, and I'm like, it reminds me to step into my shine too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I've kind of lightened up my room. I've got some bright colors happening as well, just shifting the energy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in North America, we do tend to wear a lot of black, right?
But I just realized I'm wearing all black today, so I need a little bit of this.
Yeah, and we need some scarves, right? Okay, so people know how they can contact you, and they can also purchase that book online. Makes a nice present as well. Yeah. So is that in the gifts?
The gift, like if they order by December 15th, it's always hard with the Canada Post stuff. But we're gonna try, if they order by December 15th, to get stuff out for Christmas.
Great, excellent. All right, well, Tamara, it's always a pleasure. I always like to know kind of what's going on, and I love promoting Her International any way I can. And I always think this is a nice way to do it. So thanks so much. And as I say, in December, maybe around mid-December, we'll get Katie on and we'll talk about all the initiatives going on in 2019, which are very, very exciting, very exciting. So it's just growing and expanding. But, like every charity, it needs support for people that this type of thing resonates with. So empowering young girls and empowering women around the world.
Thank you so much, Dana.
You are so welcome. All right.